Good morning, girls. So we're here today with Pauline Vicard and Beatrice Bessi to talk a little bit about the Women in Wine for a celebration of the International Women's Day. Beatrice Bessi, who I met a few years ago as sommelier of 67 Pall Mall. Beatrice is actually studying to be a Master of Wine and is the head sommelier of Chiltern Firehouse. So in a short period, you have come a long way. Congratulations. And Pauline also I met a few years ago when we were doing the diploma together and is studying to be Master of Wine. So if you could tell me, first of all, why you decided to study wine.
I always work in hospitality since I started more than 21 years ago. Of course, back in time was to for pay my studies. I tried to become engineer, but halfway I just realized that I preferred the hospitality job, and this job gave me much more than any degree in a computer science engineer could ever give me. But I was a bartender for more than 10 years. I was working very long nights till 6 a.m., 5 a.m. And that was fine when you are 20 years old. But with the last job I had, I was restaurant manager in a one-star Michelin restaurant in Italy. And just for mention, when they wanted to hire me, straight away, I did a few months there as a kind of consulting, working as a sommelier. And they wanted to hire me. I had the contract in front of me. As soon as I mentioned I was a mother, oh, actually, usually we do a 9-month probation, but because you're a mother, we're gonna give you 1 year of probation. No. You know, I did my way up. I work as much as I could, and I stayed there for 3 years till 67. So because of that, I had the opportunity to move in London. I stalk my previous boss on socials, and I followed him every single thing he wrote. As soon as I actually he posted he was looking for a new sommelier, I applied for it, and I came straight from Italy without even thinking and looking back.
And then now you're studying to be M&S.
I'm trying to. It's very hard. There are very few female in the world, around 30, as far as I remember, out of more than 260 that ever managed to pass. There are no Italian females, so it would be a great honor to try to achieve that. It's not easy, but you know, it's just a matter again of organization and mind. You know, focus on every single task you need to face. Working, raising a child. Now she's 11 years old. So she's almost she's almost a teenager, and I want to start with that, and yeah, and try to get the title if I can. It's just the best part is the journey.
Well, I can so relate to so many things that Beatrice has said on, you know, how did you manage that? Well, long story short, you stop sleeping. That's the only way. And my story is a bit different, I guess, than Beatrice. My background is a bit different because wine, in some ways, wasn't even a choice for me because I was born in a winemaking family in Burgundy. So I was raised in a vineyard. I worked all my teenage with my dad in the vineyard and in the cellar and in the bottling line. And, you know, it was a really tiny estate of 6 hectares in Burgundy, not even in the fancy part of Burgundy. So, you know, you would do everything yourself in quite an artisanal way. It was really imposed on me, like having to work, because that's what you do when you're a farmer's daughter, you work on the farm. So I ran away when I had the occasion, and I went to the UK first time when I was 20 to be a French assistant, and actually, you know, see something else than Burgundy and see something else than working in a farm, and that's actually a vineyard, and that's when it hit me actually that I was really missing it. You know, that then you actually realize that wine is what made me. Like that's what made me who I am, and the hard work that I had to do in the vineyard, because everyone thinks about being a winemaker as something very poetic, when it's one of the hardest job I know, when you have to go and work outside when it's -10 or when it's 30 degrees and it's every day you've got to do a physical job. It's full of beautiful things, but it's also really hard. As Beatrice said, it's a matter of organization. If you've got that drive, if you really want it, either, because for me it's more like something that I've got to carry with the family legacy. So when I told my dad I didn't want to be a winemaker, that I didn't want to take over the vineyard, and my brother's never been interested in wine, which actually meant that my parents had to sell the vineyards when they retired and no one took after them. So that was quite a heavy decision to take. So my dad said, you know, fair enough if you don't want to do this, but make something that matters and make something that counts in the world of wine. So it's actually something that I've got to carry with me.
It's interesting that you said that, and you said about your father, and you said about the MW. Do you have, both of you, I guess, is there anyone that inspired you?
It's my grandfather. He just passed away a few months ago, and he was the only man. He was the only man that ever believed me, and he was the only one in my family always say to my mother and my grandmother, "Oh, just leave her alone. She knows what she's doing." The first things he taught me was, okay, you need to do something. You do it today, not tomorrow, and that's something that always stuck in my mind. And if I don't do it, I repeat to myself, okay, I should do this thing or this goal or this starting today, not tomorrow. And that's something that he will never leave me.
What really inspired me, where I drew the most inspiration from, is for people that taught me to develop two qualities that I think are important, yet sometimes opposite. It's confidence and humility. And I think we need both. I think, you know, we talk a lot about gender, we talk a lot about race, and those discussions are important, but there's a discussion about class that we don't really talk about. When you come from a very humble background and you start working in London, it also means that you meet people that are super wealthy, that are super fancy, that are super educated, and you know how the world of wine is. There's a lot of this also. So getting your confidence at the levels that you can walk into the room and feel that you've got a place there, it's not that easy when you come from the countryside and, you know, before coming to London, you've never been to a one-star restaurant Michelin, and you didn't go to art exhibition and all of that, because it's not just your world. So people that I could really get inspiration in terms of confidence. Well, first of all, I think my parents were really important, not in getting me confidence, but in letting me do what I wanted to. I'm the first in my family with my brother to have done superior study. So to go over the baccalaureate, to continue after you're 18. And that was something also trying to find the confidence of evolving in this when I had no example at home of people that had done superior studies. So I always try, you know, when I have to enter a room which is full of the biggest names of the industry or the biggest wines, just try to breathe in and try to, you know, embody that kind of natural ease. And then I think when you enter the world of wine and you start climbing the ladder, it's easy to lose humility and it's easy to use sight of everything. To me, the more you know and the more you achieve, the more you realize that you still have to work and you still have to learn, because it never stops, the wine world. There's always more to learn.
Absolutely. And finally, girls, what would you be drinking on the International Women's Day to celebrate? Because we definitely need to be celebrated.
So my choice would be the Umbriel Classic Cuvée from England, so an English sparkling wine. Wendy, she's the winemaker, and I had the opportunity to taste it a few times. Even the rosé, actually the rosé as well is very good.
The rosé is amazing.
Yeah,
2014
amazing,
is...
Yeah, amazing color and amazing bubbles. And so, yeah, always for a sparkling, So that would be my choice.
And I've chose Nelson Estate and Lisha, the winemaker that's now taking over after her father, because, you know, she did it when I couldn't take over from my dad. But also because South Africa, I think, you know, has been hit very hard during the crisis, and we can also show support.
Yeah. On that note, I'm going to choose the Chardonnay, Brucamalin Chardonnay, which is from Argentina, and is made by Noelia Torres. She took over the vineyard a few years ago, and it's a great Chardonnay with a little bit, the right amount of oak. Thank you both very, very much. It was a pleasure. I'm delighted to have you here, and I'm super proud of you too.
Thanks so much. I'm super proud of you too.